for the subject Data Science in Healthcare. Today's topic being discussed is from Unit 2 Mimic Database. It is an electronic health record, and the long form of Mimic is Medical Information Mart for Intensive Care. So we'll be speaking about this. So I'll be referring hands-on healthcare data book by Andrew Niggins. These contents are derived from that book only. So let me check. I was referring this book. So from this book the content is derived on healthcare data, taming the complexity of real world data by Andrew Niggins orally. So this is the content derived from there. So as you can see, Mimic is an electronic health record, and the long form for Mimic is Medical Information Mart for Intensive Care. It's a data set. So it was the result of the research efforts by Harvard and MIT, and the patient details are of the patients in intensive care unit ICUs in Beth Israel Diocese Medical Center in Boston, Massachusetts. So basically it's an extract of data from the hospital electronic health record system and associated modules, imaging and claims. The current release of Mimic is Mimic 4. So the Mimic data is de-identified for privacy concerns. But Mimic data set has data quality challenges, typical of whatever challenges you face with the electronic health care records, though it is curated, though it is clean. There is a table called as DICD diagnosis in Mimic that has a column named ICD-9 code. So that indicates we are using ICD-9 codes, though the industry is using ICD-10. So let us look at the table DICD diagnosis. So again, this is just, I googled some Kaggle content of this gentleman, and I am just checking the DICD diagnosis table. And as you can see here, ICD-9 code is there. So ICD-9 code. So that confirms Mimic is using ICD-9, though the industry is using ICD-10 kind of. So there is one more table called as diagnosis ICD table. As just you have seen, DICD diagnosis. So what the purpose of that table is? Here the ICD codes are used for billing purposes. All ICD codes are ICD-9 based, but from 2015 onwards, Mimic is supposed to use ICD-10. So let us again come back to Mimic discussion. Mimic stands for what? Medical Information Mart for Intensive Care. Okay, it's a NIH funded project. That was a collaboration between Harvard and MIT. It started in 2003. So it's a data set basically of ICU patient data, and it was first publicly released in 2011. So you have the various releases of Mimic, say Mimic 1, Mimic 2, Mimic 3, Mimic 4, and each release has their version also. Say for example, Mimic 3 has the latest version as version 1.4, while the latest version of Mimic 4 is version 1.0. What mimic data will consist of? It may have demographic information, lab tests, clinical notes, ECG, so many more such. Now, for data scientists, it's really attractive to use mimic data set to develop digital biomarkers, create clinical natural language processing algorithms, conduct traditional clinical research. So, now coming to the schema, so Mimic 3 schema reflects delivery of inpatient care. Okay, so let us look at different tables in that. So the first table being mentioned is patient table. Okay, so there will be entry for every unique patient. So date of birth, date of deaths, genotypical sex, gender, multiple date of deaths. Okay, the date indicated by hospital system, death indicated by social security databases. Then you also have generic date of death column that will be merging the two. So let us look at the patient table from this. This is the patient table, and as you can see, you have what? Row ID, subject ID, gender, date of birth, date of death in the hospital, date of death in social security number, and so on. So date of death in the hospital, date of death in social security, expire flag, such things. So this is your patient table. Then you have admission table also. It is derived from ADT system. ADT stands for admission, discharge and transfer system. Again, what it will be indicating is date and time the patient was admitted and discharged. He may be admitted and discharged multiple times also. So let us look at the admissions table. As you can see here, the admissions table has admitted time, discharge time, death time, and so on. So let us look at those tables. Column names: admitted time, discharge time, death time, admission type, where it is emergency or elective, admission location, where it is for emergency room or transfer from hospital, discharge location, insurance, so on. There is one more table called as ICU stays. Okay, so then again, ICU stays means the patient might have been brought to the ICU multiple times, brought and discharged, brought and discharged. So such may be the case. So let us look at the ICU stay table also. This is the ICU stays table, and these are the column names. Row ID is there, subject ID, HADM ID. Then you have ICU stay ID, DB source. The DB source has MetaVision or CareView. Then first care unit, then last care unit, first ward ID, last ward ID, in time, so on, so forth. So this is our ICU stays table. Then you also have transfers table. Okay, so which indicates transfers to and from ICU stays. Okay, what are the first and the last unit, intermediate units, all that. So let us look at the transfer table also. So transfers table has the column names: ICU stay ID, DB source, event type, transfer, admitted other, previous care unit, current care unit, previous ward ID, current ward ID. Such information is there. Then you also have prescriptions table, which indicates the medications given. So let us look at the prescription table also. So what are the columns in prescription table? ICU stay ID, start date, end date, drug type. What drug type? What is the drug? What is the drug name? whether it's generic and so on. So this information is there in this table. There is some discussion about a column called as product strength. Okay, so which may indicate say how many milligrams, milliliter, vial details, so on and so forth. Then you also are told that there is NDC code as well as GSN code. So NDC code is National Drugs Code used by US. So which is a combination of labeler, product information and package information. Then you have procedure events table also. You have two different systems, CareView and MetaVision, but you all have only a single table for the procedure events. What procedure events indicates what procedures are ordered for the patient. So let us look at that table also, procedure events. Here it is. And let us look at the column names of procedure: ICD stay, ICU stay, start time, end time, item ID, value, UOM, location. So these are the columns. These are the columns. Then you also need to understand the difference between CPT and ICD. CPT basically is used to bill for physician services, where ICD is used for bill for hospital services. That subtle difference need to be understood. Now coming to the limitation of Mimic 3 dataset, it is focused on ICU patients only. So there is a huge bias towards higher acuity patients, patients who have more complex medical situations. So any insights generated from this dataset will likely not apply to majority of the population. This was a discussion on Mimic dataset. Thank you.